Welcome to tonight's peaceful journey through the wonders of nature. In this video, we'll share 1,000 fascinating facts about one of the world's most incredible animals. The perfect way to relax, unwind, and drift into a deep, restful sleep. As you listen, there's no need to stay awake or remember every detail. Just let the gentle rhythm of facts and soft sounds help your mind slow down and your body rest. If you enjoy calm storytelling and want more relaxing nature videos like this, take a moment to subscribe to the channel and join our growing community of curious dreamers. Now, get comfortable, close your eyes, and let's begin. With fact number 1, gorillas are the largest living primates on Earth, capable of standing over 1.8 meters, 6 feet, tall and weighing up to 270 kilograms, 600 pounds. There are two main species, the eastern gorilla, Gorilla beringei, and the western gorilla, gorilla. Each has two subspecies. The eastern lowland gorilla, Gorilla beringei graueri, is the largest subspecies. Gorillas share about 98.3% of their DNA with humans, making them one of our closest living relatives. They diverged from the human lineage around 8 to 10 million years ago. Their closest relatives are chimpanzees and bonobos, but gorillas are more robust and less arboreal. Gorillas have 32 teeth, the same number as humans. Their sagittal crest, a ridge of bone on top of the skull, gives jaw muscles extra strength for chewing fibrous vegetation. Males develop silver hair on their backs around age 12, giving rise to the term silverback. Gorillas are quadrupedal knuckle walkers, walking on their knuckles to support their weight. Their arm span can exceed 2.5 meters, 8 feet. Despite their size, gorillas can climb trees, especially to feed or sleep in smaller trees. Their heart rate averages 70-90 beats per minute. Similar to humans, gorillas have unique nose prints, just like human fingerprints. They possess opposable thumbs and semi-opposable big toes, giving them fine control when handling food. Their blood type is typically type B, though variations occur. Gorillas' digestive systems are specialized for fermenting plant matter, much like a cow's. A gorilla's stomach can expand enormously, allowing them to consume 20 to 30 kilograms of vegetation per day. Gorillas' eyes are brown and set forward, giving them strong binocular vision for judging depth. They have thick skin under their fur, which helps protect them from bites and scratches in dense forests. A gorilla's muscle-to-fat ratio is extremely high. They are up to 6 times stronger than humans. Despite their power, they have a gentle disposition, especially toward family members. Gorillas have large brains, weighing up to 500 grams, 1.1 pounds, roughly 1/3 the size of the human brain. The larynx, voice box, of gorillas allows for a wide range of vocalizations, though not human-like speech. Some gorillas in captivity have learned over 1,000 sign language signs, proving high cognitive capacity. Gorillas inhabit tropical and subtropical forests across Central Africa. The western gorilla is found in countries like Cameroon, Gabon, and the Republic of Congo. Eastern gorillas live mostly in the mountainous regions of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and Uganda. Mountain gorillas, Gorilla beringei, live at elevations up to 4,000 meters, $13,000 ft. These high-altitude forests can experience cold temperatures and mist, hence the term misty mountains. Western lowland gorillas inhabit swampy forests and are the most numerous. Subspecies gorillas rarely travel into open grasslands. They prefer dense vegetation. Cover for safety. Their home ranges can be as large as 40 square kilometers, though they only use parts of it daily. They construct nests from vegetation each evening for sleeping. Gorillas often make day nests for resting after feeding. They use natural water sources like rivers and rain pools rather than digging for water. Gorillas are crucial for seed dispersal, helping forests regenerate. Some plants rely solely on gorillas for spreading their seeds. Gorillas rarely eat meat. Their habitats provide all essential nutrients through plants. They can adapt to different altitudes, from sea level to high mountain forests. Their dense fur helps protect them from cold mountain climates. In swampy forests, they've been observed wading through water to reach fruiting trees. They prefer areas with abundant fruiting plants and herbs. Habitat loss due to deforestation and mining is their greatest modern threat. Human settlements near forests increase disease transmission too. Gorillas' ecotourism has become vital to fund gorilla protection in many regions. Gorilla populations are fragmented, meaning groups are isolated from each other. Civil unrest and poaching often overlap with gorilla habitats. In some regions, gorillas face competition with humans for farmland. Conservation programs aim to create wildlife corridors to reconnect populations. Gorillas are primarily herbivores. Their diet includes leaves, stems, fruit, and shoots. They also eat bark, roots, and flowers when fruit is scarce. Occasionally, they'll consume ants, termites, or small insects. Mountain gorillas eat fewer fruits and more leaves due to their cooler climate. Western gorillas eat more fruit, as it's more abundant in lowland forests. A mature silverback can consume up to 30 kilograms, 66 pounds of food daily. Gorillas often feed for about 6 hours per day. They spend most of their waking hours eating or foraging. Gorillas don't drink water often. They get most of their hydration from plants. Bamboo shoots are a favorite food among mountain gorillas. Gorillas have large molars that grind tough vegetation. They often eat the pith, soft, inner part of plants. Gorillas use their hands to delicately strip leaves or peel stems. They occasionally consume clay or soil, which may help neutralize plant toxins. Juvenile gorillas learn what to eat by watching their mothers. Seasonal changes in fruit availability affect their daily travel distances. Gorillas will travel farther when fruit is scarce. They rarely overexploit an area, giving vegetation time to regrow. Females and juveniles often follow the silverback when foraging. Some gorillas are known to have favorite feeding trees they revisit. Gorillas play a major role in maintaining forest health through seed dispersal. In captivity, diets are supplemented with vegetables, fruits, and leafy greens. Overfeeding captive gorillas can lead to obesity and diabetes. Similar to humans, gorillas exhibit food sharing, especially between mothers and infants. Gorillas are known for their complex emotional lives. They express joy, grief, anger, and affection through facial expressions and sounds. The first gorilla to use sign language, Coco, learned over 1,000 signs. Coco also understood more than 2,000 spoken English words. Gorillas have excellent memory, recalling locations of fruit trees. They can use tools, such as sticks, to gauge water depth. They recognize themselves in mirrors, a sign of self-awareness. They show empathy, comforting distressed group members. Play is essential for young gorilla development. Gorillas engage in rough and tumble play, similar to human children. Silverbacks mediate conflicts between group members. They rarely fight to the death. Displays are usually enough. A gorilla's chest-beating display serves as a warning, not an attack signal. Chest beating resonates through the forest and can be heard over a kilometer away. They also use vocalizations, gestures, and postures to communicate. Gorillas have over 20 distinct vocal sounds identified by researchers. Soft grunts are used to maintain group cohesion while moving. Loud hoots or roars are used for territorial defense. Gorillas mourn the deaths of companions, sometimes staying near bodies for hours. They show curiosity toward human visitors, often staring or approaching calmly. Young gorillas may mimic human gestures, such as waving or clapping. Gorillas have unique personalities. Some are shy, others playful or assertive. They can be trained for medical care, such as presenting arms for injections. Gorillas understand hierarchy and fairness, refusing rewards if others get more. They exhibit problem-solving skills comparable to young human children. Gorillas live in family groups called troops or bands. A typical troop has 5 to 30 members, depending on the species and habitat. Each troop is led by a dominant silverback male. The silverback determines where the group eats, sleeps, and travels. He also protects the group from predators and rival males. Troops usually include one silverback, several adult females, and their offspring. Occasionally, groups may have multiple silverbacks, often relatives. Subordinate males are called blackbacks. They haven't yet developed silver hair. Females usually transfer to another group before reproducing, preventing inbreeding. Males leave their natal group around age 8-11 to avoid competition with the silverback. Some young males become solitary until they attract females and form their own. Group gorilla society is non-territorial, meaning groups' ranges may overlap peacefully. Conflicts between silverbacks are often resolved through displays, not fights. The silverback's leadership is based on strength, age, and experience. Females tend to stay close to the silverback for protection and stability. Infants cling to their mothers constantly for the first 3 to 4 months. Mothers are the primary caregivers, though silverbacks are gentle with infants. Orphaned infants have been observed being adopted by other females or even silverbacks. Grooming plays a key role in bonding and hygiene. Grooming sessions often strengthen social trust. Adult males rarely groom each other, but females often do. Young gorillas learn social norms through observation and imitation. Group cohesion depends heavily on the silverback's authority and temperament. If a silverback dies, the group may disperse or join another. Females may leave to join stronger silverbacks for protection. Some gorilla families have been observed lasting decades under one leader. Younger males sometimes challenge older silverbacks for control. These challenges involve intense displays and vocalizations, rarely full fights. If successful, the new silverback takes over and may kill infants sired by the previous male. This behavior, called infanticide, encourages females to mate again. Female gorillas form alliances to protect their offspring. In captivity, social stability is achieved by mimicking natural group structures. Dominant males are not necessarily the largest, but often the most experienced. Gorilla society emphasizes peaceful coexistence rather than aggression. Silverbacks are known to break up fights between juveniles. They use body language, like staring or charging, to assert authority. Communication in groups is constant, from grunts to gestures. Social order ensures that feeding and nesting occur without chaos. Troops are highly cohesive units, showing loyalty and long-term bonds. Even after separation, some gorillas recognize former group members years later. Gorillas use a mix of vocal, visual, and tactile signals to communicate. Over 25 vocalizations have been documented in wild. Gorillas' grunts are the most common, used for maintaining contact. Belch vocalizations signal contentment during feeding. Roars or screams express alarm or aggression. Whimpers are often made by infants seeking comfort. Chest beating is their most iconic display, often misunderstood. It's done by both males and females, but silverbacks do it most dramatically. The sound can travel over 1 kilometer, 0.6 miles, through dense forest. Gorillas beat their chests using cupped hands, which amplifies the sound. The display usually occurs before a charge, as a show of dominance. Researchers have found individual differences in chest beating patterns. This may help identify gorillas by sound alone. Facial expressions are subtle but meaningful, e.g., tight lips show tension. A play face, open mouth with relaxed jaw, signals friendly intent. Direct eye contact is rare in wild gorillas, as it can seem threatening. Touch, such as gentle tapping or leaning, conveys reassurance. Grooming also functions as a form of communication. Mothers use vocal soothing to calm infants, similar to human humming. Silverbacks use low rumbles to coordinate group movements. These rumbles can indicate follow, me, or all clear, alarm. Calls alert the group to predators or humans. When frightened, gorillas may freeze and remain silent instead. Vocalizations differ slightly between groups, almost like regional dialects. Young gorillas learn communication cues by imitating adults. Captive gorillas develop unique gestures to interact with humans. Gorillas can understand pointing and gaze direction, showing cognitive empathy. They've been seen using sticks to mimic chest beating during play. Some gorillas hum while eating, indicating pleasure. This humming is contagious. Others nearby often join in. Gorillas can detect emotion through tone, not just words. They can distinguish between friendly and aggressive human voices. They also react differently to familiar versus unfamiliar people. Gorillas can communicate intentionally, not just reflexively. Studies show they may modify gestures to clarify, meaning wild gorillas sometimes use leaf-tearing sounds as signals during displays. This is called leaf clapping, an alternative to chest beating. Vocal. Communication increases in large or spread out groups. They're communicative. Flexibility rivals that of chimpanzees. Gorillas. Complex communication reflects their high intelligence and emotional depth. All gorilla species are critically endangered or endangered. The main threats are habitat destruction, poaching, and disease. Deforestation for logging, farming, and mining reduces their living space. Bushmeat hunting remains a major issue in parts of Central Africa. Even though killing gorillas is illegal, enforcement is often weak. Poachers target gorillas for meat, trophies, and traditional medicine. Baby gorillas are sometimes captured for the illegal pet trade. Diseases such as Ebola have devastated wild populations. In the 2000s, Ebola wiped out over 1/3 of Western gorillas in some areas. Gorillas are highly susceptible to human respiratory diseases. Because of this, tourists must stay at least 7 meters, 23 feet, away. Conservation groups implement strict hygiene measures for visitors. Ecotourism generates millions of dollars for gorilla protection. Volcanoes. National Park in Rwanda is a leading model of gorilla conservation. Local communities receive a share of tourism revenue, encouraging protection. Many rangers risk their lives guarding gorilla habitats from poachers. Gorillas serve as umbrella species, protecting them. Safeguards whole ecosystems. Captive breeding programs exist but aim mainly for education, not reintroduction. The global population of all gorillas is estimated at less than 250,000 tons. The mountain gorilla population, once under 300, has now surpassed 1,000 individuals, thanks to conservation efforts. Female gorillas reach sexual maturity at 8 to 10 years old, males at 11-13. Males don't typically breed until they become silverbacks, around 15 years old. Gorillas don't have a fixed breeding season. They mate year-round. A female's estrus cycle lasts about 30 days. Similar to humans, they show subtle signs of fertility, like increased scent and behavior cues. Courtship involves soft vocalizations, grooming, and close following. Females often initiate mating by approaching and presenting to the male. Mating usually happens privately, away from the rest of the troop. Gorillas are polygynous. One male mates with multiple females. However, females may sometimes sneak copulations with other males. Pregnancy lasts about 8.5 months, similar to humans. Females typically give birth to a single infant. Twins are rare. Newborn gorillas weigh around 1.8-2 kilograms, 4.5 pounds. Births occur mostly at night, when the group is calm. Mothers cradle their babies constantly during the first few weeks. Infants cling to their mother's belly for the first 3 months. At 4 to 6 months, they start riding on their mother's back. Weaning occurs around 3 to 4 years of age, though nursing may continue longer. Females give birth about every 4 to 6 years, depending on infant survival. This slow reproductive rate makes population recovery difficult. Mothers are extremely protective and rarely let others handle their infants. Silverbacks often stand guard during the early months after birth. If a new silverback takes over, he may kill unrelated infants to prompt mating. Females sometimes form coalitions to defend their young. Infanticide accounts for a small but significant portion of infant deaths. Gorillas demonstrate maternal mourning, holding or carrying dead infants. Adoption by other females or silverbacks has been documented in the wild. Infants begin exploring their surroundings around 5 months old. By age 1, they're playful and socially active. Juvenile gorillas, ages 3 to 6, spend much of their day playing and learning. Female gorillas reach half their adult size by age 6. Males continue growing until about 15 years. Older females are more successful mothers, with higher infant survival. Reproductive success correlates with group stability and male protection. Females show strong preference for dominant, experienced males. Mating behavior can strengthen pair bonds. Within the group, captive gorillas often reproduce naturally when kept in stable family units. Artificial insemination has succeeded, but is rarely used. Baby gorillas exhibit eye contact, smiling, and cooing, similar to human infants. Their development stages closely mirror early human child growth. Gorillas have complex cognitive abilities comparable to a 3-4-year-old human. They can plan actions and anticipate outcomes. Wild gorillas have been seen using tools, such as sticks for measuring water depth. They can also use branches as walking sticks in swamps. Gorillas understand causality, that one action leads to another. They can solve simple puzzles and mazes in captivity. Gorillas show memory recall, recognizing familiar people after years apart. They demonstrate theory of mind, understanding others' intentions. Coco the gorilla was famous for using American Sign Language. Coco learned over 1,000 signs and understood more than 2,000 English words. She could express emotions like sadness, humor, and affection. Coco even kept pet kittens and named them herself. When one of her kittens died, she signed sad and cry. Another gorilla, Michael, also learned sign language and described his mother's death. These cases show grief awareness and emotional depth. Gorillas exhibit self-recognition in mirrors, passing a key test of consciousness. They also demonstrate delayed gratification, choosing future rewards over immediate ones. In captivity, gorillas can memorize sequences and respond to symbols on touchscreens. Gorillas have distinct personalities: playful, shy, dominant, or nurturing. Emotional contagion occurs. One gorilla's stress can affect others nearby. They can sense human emotions, calming or avoiding upset people. Gorillas learn through imitation, a major factor in social intelligence. They've been observed imitating human gestures, like waving or clapping. Some gorillas have shown creative play, using sticks or leaves as toys. They understand ownership, recognizing personal food or space. Gorillas exhibit deception, such as hiding food from rivals. Their laughter-like sounds during play resemble human giggles. They form attachments to keepers or researchers, sometimes showing jealousy. Gorillas may dream, based on brain activity during sleep cycles. Their intelligence challenges outdated ideas of humans being vastly superior. Gorillas were first known to Western science in the mid-19th century. The term gorilla comes from a Greek word meaning tribe of hairy women. The first Western encounter with a gorilla occurred in 1847, in what is now Cameroon. Early explorers misrepresented gorillas as violent monsters. The 1933 movie King Kong popularized the giant ape stereotype. In reality, gorillas are peaceful and shy unless provoked. The first live gorilla seen by Westerners, Jenny, arrived in the London Zoo in 1849. She was known for her intelligence and emotional behavior, astonishing visitors. Researcher Dian Fossey revolutionized our understanding of gorillas. She studied mountain gorillas in Rwanda for nearly 2 decades. Fossey's work revealed their gentle, family-oriented nature. Her book Gorillas in the Mist and its film adaptation brought global awareness. Fossey was murdered in 1985, likely due to her anti-poaching activism. Her research base, Karasoke, remains a major conservation center. Another famous gorilla, Digit, was Fossey's close companion, killed by poachers in 1977. Digit's death inspired the creation of the Digit Fund, now the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund. Harambe, a western lowland gorilla, became world famous in 2016 after being shot at the Cincinnati Zoo. The incident sparked global debate on zoo ethics and conservation awareness. Harambe's case led to increased safety standards in zoos worldwide. Another gorilla, Binti Jua, saved a 3-year-old boy who fell into her enclosure in 1996. She gently protected the boy and carried him to zookeepers, an act that amazed the world. Binti's empathy was seen as proof of gorillas' deep compassion and intelligence. The National Geographic 1978 cover photo of a gorilla touching Fossey's face remains. Iconic gorillas have been featured in literature, films, and art for over a century. Famous portrayals include Mighty Joe Young, Tarzan, and Congo. Despite their depiction as monsters, gorillas are vegetarians and pacifists by nature. They have become symbols of conservation and strength in African culture. In local folklore, gorillas are sometimes regarded as forest spirits or protectors. In modern times, Gorillas serve as ambassadors for wildlife conservation worldwide. Many conservation logos, including the WWF's Gorilla Initiative, use gorillas as symbols of hope. Gorillas are diurnal, meaning they are active during the day and rest at night. They typically wake up around sunrise and begin foraging immediately. Their day consists of feeding, traveling, resting, and social interaction. Gorillas follow a predictable routine, but adjust to weather and food availability. They spend about 30 to 40% of their day feeding. Another 30% is spent resting, often after heavy meals. The remaining time involves social play, grooming, or moving between feeding sites. Gorillas build new nests every night, even if they remain in the same area. Nests are made from branches, leaves, and soft vegetation. Adult males prefer ground nests, while females and juveniles may nest in trees. Gorillas sleep an average of 12 hours a night. They rarely reuse old nests. This helps prevent parasite buildup. Silverbacks are usually the first awake, ensuring safety before others rise. Young gorillas often wake earlier to play quietly near their mothers. During rain, gorillas may shelter under foliage or cover themselves with leaves. In hot weather, they seek shade and reduce activity. In cold mountain environments, they huddle together for warmth. Afternoon rests are typically spent grooming or napping. Grooming helps strengthen family bonds and maintain hygiene. Gorillas occasionally chew on bark or twigs between meals. They don't store food or plan ahead. They rely on immediate availability. When fruit is plentiful, they may travel shorter distances. When food is scarce, they can walk up to 3 kilometers, 1.8 miles a day. Gorillas use habitual trails, forming visible paths through vegetation. They recognize landmarks and feeding zones in their territory. Their movement patterns are influenced by seasonal fruiting cycles. In areas with human disturbance, gorillas become more nocturnal or reclusive. Some populations have adapted to higher altitudes with limited oxygen. Gorillas often stop to rest after steep climbs, conserving energy. They rarely swim and tend to avoid deep water. Despite this, they can cross rivers by wading or using fallen logs. They have been seen using branches as bridges across muddy ground. Gorillas travel in single-file lines, with the silverback leading or guarding the rear. Infants ride on their mother's back during travel. They communicate, while moving using grunts and low rumbles to stay together. Groups often pause for midday conferences, resting and socializing. After foraging, they spend quiet time chewing cud-like boluses, digesting fiber. By sunset, they settle down to build nests and prepare for sleep. The forest grows quieter as gorillas rest. Their daily rhythm syncs with nature. Their structured routine reflects a highly efficient energy balance for such large animals. Play is essential. For young gorillas, social and physical development, juveniles engage in chasing, wrestling, and mock fighting. These games teach balance, strength, and social limits. Play is also a way to practice dominance displays safely. Female juveniles engage in nurturing play, carrying sticks like infants. Young males tend to roughhouse more aggressively, mimicking future silverbacks. Play often occurs after feeding, when energy levels are high. Silverbacks occasionally join in play, showing patience with the young. Play sessions can last 30 minutes or more, filled with laughter-like sounds. Infants sometimes initiate play with adults by slapping or tugging fur. Play teaches boundaries and communication. When to stop, yield, or apologize. When play gets too rough, adults step in to restore calm. Juveniles form close friendships that can last into adulthood. Observing play helps scientists measure group harmony and stress levels. In captivity, gorillas with access to toys and enrichment live longer, healthier lives. Common enrichment items include ropes, barrels, and puzzle feeders. Gorillas have been observed inventing games with sticks and leaves. Some mimic human gestures during play, like peekaboo. Mothers encourage infants by gently pushing or tickling them to play. Play behavior strengthens neurological and social development. Juveniles learn hierarchy and social etiquette through group play. Observing how young gorillas interact helps researchers understand human-child development. Parallels. Play declines as gorillas age, but never disappears entirely. Adult Females may still tumble or chase during relaxed moments. Elder gorillas often observe play from the sidelines, occasionally grunting approval. Gorillas' playful nature contradicts their stereotype as fierce beasts. Even in old age, gorillas maintain a sense of curiosity and exploration. Play is a sign of low stress and social stability in gorilla groups. In unstable or threatened groups, play tends to decrease dramatically. Thus, the amount of play can indicate the overall emotional health of a troop. Gorillas are known as gardeners of the forest. They play a key role in seed dispersal. Through their droppings, many tropical trees depend on gorillas for regeneration. Seeds pass through the digestive system undamaged, benefiting from nutrients. A single gorilla may disperse thousands of seeds per day. Gorillas indirectly support hundreds of plant and animal species. Forests inhabited by gorillas tend to have greater biodiversity. By trampling vegetation, they create pathways for smaller animals. Their dung enriches soil with nitrogen and organic matter. Gorillas help control vegetation density, maintaining ecological balance. When gorillas disappear from an area, forests often lose key plant species. Their ecological role is comparable to elephants in savannas. Mountain gorillas' movements affect alpine vegetation zones. They aid in nutrient cycling, moving nutrients across elevations. Gorillas' presence is a sign of a healthy, intact forest ecosystem. They prefer old-growth forests, which also support rare wildlife. Protecting gorillas also protects water sources and carbon sinks. Gorilla habitats help absorb millions of tons of CO2 annually. Conservation of gorillas thus contributes to global climate stability. Ecotourism centered on gorillas generates income for local economies, reducing deforestation pressure. The gorilla effect, where protecting one species saves many others, is a proven conservation strategy. Gorillas are often the flagship species for Central African rainforest protection. When gorillas thrive, forest elephants, chimpanzees, and countless birds benefit too. In degraded areas, gorillas' feeding habits can aid reforestation by spreading pioneer plants. Their absence can cause long-term ecosystem collapse. Some regions have introduced gorilla-friendly farming certifications to support coexistence. Scientists use gorillas as bioindicators of forest health. A strong gorilla population usually means low poaching and high biodiversity. Their continued existence is crucial for Africa's rainforest resilience. Protecting gorillas protects the lungs of our planet. The Congo Basin itself. Gorillas move primarily through knuckle walking, a unique adaptation among great apes. Knuckle walking distributes their massive weight while protecting their palms. They use flexed wrists and curled fingers, supporting weight on the second knuckles. This gait is energy efficient, allowing long-distance travel without injury. Gorillas can also walk upright for short distances, up to 10 meters. They may stand on two legs to reach high fruit or display dominance. A fully grown silverback can run up to 25 mph 40 km/h in short bursts. Despite their bulk, gorillas are incredibly agile and balanced. They can climb trees up to 30 meters tall, especially females and juveniles. Adult males climb less often due to weight, but still do so for feeding or protection. Gorillas have broad shoulders and long arms, giving them great leverage. Their arm span exceeds their height by up to 30%, are ideal for climbing and swinging. Unlike chimpanzees, gorillas rarely swing from branch to branch. They prefer clambering. They sometimes use roots or vines as handholds when navigating steep terrain. Gorillas can balance on narrow tree limbs with surprising precision. Their feet, with opposable big toes, act like a second pair of hands. In swamp forests, gorillas wade carefully through shallow water, using tools or sticks for balance. Mountain gorillas often traverse rocky slopes and cold, misty terrain. They show excellent spatial memory, remembering safe routes through forests. Gorillas can jump short distances, though they rarely leap like chimpanzees. Their massive muscles give them the strength to bend small trees or snap branches easily. A silverback's punch is estimated at up to 1,300 pounds of force. They can lift weights over 10 times their body weight in bursts. Gorillas' endurance is moderate. They rely on short, powerful movements rather than stamina. Their thick skin and fur protect against thorns and insect bites during travel. In cooler mountain regions, they move slowly to conserve energy. In lowlands, they travel faster but rest more due to heat. Gorillas occasionally use hand gestures while moving, signaling direction or pause. Infant gorillas cling tightly to their mothers' backs during long treks. Gorillas are known to help injured group members move by slowing down or waiting. They can use both hands independently, a sign of advanced motor control. Gorillas' physical coordination rivals that of elite human athletes. A gorilla's stride length averages 1.2–1.5 meters per step. When charging, they combine speed, sound, and posture to intimidate, not kill. Despite their power, gorillas rarely engage in violent movement unless cornered. They prefer displaying strength rather than using it. Researchers have noted dance-like swaying or rhythmic movement before storms. These behaviors may serve to relieve tension or synchronize group mood. Gorillas are capable of precise hand-eye coordination, seen when picking small berries. Every aspect of their movement balances power, grace, and purpose. Gorillas communicate through a rich tapestry of sounds. Over 30 vocalizations have been recorded in wild populations. Each serves a purpose, from reassurance to warning or coordination. Belch vocalizations indicate contentment during feeding. Grunts maintain group contact during travel. Hoarse barks warn of predators or strangers. Screams and roars occur in aggression or fear. Pant hoots, though more common in chimpanzees, appear during gorilla excitement. Chest beating produces a low-frequency resonance detectable up to 1.5 kilometers. Chest beating sound frequency differs by age and body size, allowing identification. Gorillas. Vocal control suggests early evolutionary roots of speech-like behavior. Infants babble, experimenting with sound patterns. Much like human babies, mothers respond with soft coos, reinforcing communication learning. Some gorillas make purring noises when relaxed or socializing. Others emit short barks during curiosity-driven exploration. Gorillas use body postures, facial expressions, and touch to complement vocal sounds. Eye direction and body orientation carry specific social meaning. A play face, open mouth and relaxed eyes, signals friendliness. Aggressive faces are rare, reserved for serious confrontations. Communication varies by species. Western gorillas are generally more vocal than Eastern ones. Male silverbacks use low-frequency rumbles to coordinate group movement. These rumbles can indicate come, follow, or stop. When humans mimic gorilla sounds correctly, some gorillas respond or approach peacefully. Coco the gorilla used ASL signs to combine meaning, e.g., finger bracelet for ring. Coco even created new compound words, demonstrating symbolic thought. Gorillas in captivity develop unique dialects influenced by zookeepers' voices. Wild gorillas have regional call variations, like accents. Sound recordings have revealed family-specific communication patterns. Gorillas' vocal range spans subsonic to human-audible frequencies. Some low rumbles are felt more than heard, a language of vibration and empathy. Gorillas exhibit a full spectrum of emotions: joy, grief, anger, love, and shame. They display self-awareness and can recognize themselves in mirrors. They grieve over dead family members, sometimes guarding bodies for days. In mourning, they may avoid play and remain silent. Mothers have been seen carrying deceased infants for several days. Such behavior mirrors human mourning rituals of attachment. Gorillas express affection through hugging, grooming, and gentle touch. They may rest heads on each other's shoulders during bonding moments. Emotional contagion is common. If one gorilla is anxious, others notice. They comfort distressed group members through touch or proximity. Gorillas' empathy extends to humans, often showing calm curiosity. Captive gorillas have comforted crying humans or sick companions. In zoos, gorillas have been seen gesturing concern at injured peers. Silverbacks sometimes stand guard silently over sick group. Members emotionally intelligent gorillas often maintain longer social bonds. Gorillas' facial expressions are rich and human-like, capable of subtle emotion display. Calm face with relaxed eyes and lips signals trust and peace. Anger is shown through stiff posture and sharp breathing, rarely escalating. Gorillas exhibit fairness behaviors, rejecting food if others are treated unfairly. They understand reciprocity, remembering who shares and who withholds. Social grooming reinforces trust and forgiveness. When reunited after separation, gorillas often embrace or vocalize happily. Infants show jealousy if their mothers give attention elsewhere. Gorillas can experience boredom and depression in captivity if isolated. Enrichment, companionship, and mental stimulation are vital for their well-being. Some gorillas show artistic tendencies, drawing or painting with enjoyment. Coco's paintings sold for charity, funding gorilla conservation. Emotional. Bonds between gorillas and caretakers can last decades. Their emotional world challenges the line between human and animal. Consciousness. Understanding. Gorilla emotions helps humans rethink empathy, morality, and kinship. Gorillas rely primarily on sight, hearing, and smell to navigate their world. Their forward-facing eyes provide excellent depth perception, crucial in dense forests. Vision is adapted for daylight activity, diurnal, though not night vision. They can perceive a broad range of colors, similar to humans. This helps them identify ripe fruit and tender leaves among green foliage. Their binocular vision allows precise judgment of distance when climbing. Gorillas' sense of smell is less acute than that of dogs, but more refined than humans. Silverbacks use scent to recognize individuals and detect intruders. Each gorilla has a unique body odor influenced by diet and hormones. Males emit a strong musk-like scent during displays or excitement. This scent communicates dominance and emotional state to the group. Females may use scent to signal fertility, though subtly. Their hearing is highly developed, especially for low-frequency sounds. They can detect chest beating or rumbles beyond human range. Young gorillas respond to their mother's voice before recognizing faces. Gorillas are sensitive to tone and rhythm, showing musical awareness. They can distinguish human voices, recognizing familiar tones. Tactile sensitivity is extremely high. Their fingertips resemble human fingerprints. They use touch to explore new objects carefully, rarely rushing contact. The skin on their palms and soles is thick and calloused, ideal for rough terrain. Taste preferences lean toward sweet and mild flavors. They dislike bitter foods. Unless young and learning diet cues, gorillas' tongue and palate structure resemble those of early hominins. Their sense of balance is well developed, critical for moving through uneven ground. They can orient themselves by the sun's position, helping navigation. Visual recognition extends to faces, gestures, and emotional cues. Experiments show gorillas can identify themselves in photos after training. They can also detect human facial expressions, anger, fear, or happiness. Their sensory world is deeply integrated, a fusion of sound, scent, and sight. These senses help maintain social harmony and safety in dense forests. Gorillas' intelligence rivals that of dolphins and elephants. They can solve problems, learn languages, and display humor. Cognitive tests show memory and learning comparable to human toddlers. Gorillas demonstrate metacognition, thinking about their own thoughts. In experiments, they signal uncertainty when unsure of an answer. This trait is considered a hallmark of advanced intelligence. Gorillas can understand abstract symbols representing real-world objects. In captivity, they've mastered touchscreen-based tasks. Some even remember complex sequences after days of delay. Coco's case proved gorillas can grasp syntax and metaphor. When asked about death, Coco signed "Sleep, Cat Gone," showing comprehension of loss. Gorillas can use tools spontaneously, not just by imitation. Examples include using sticks to test water depth or using rocks to crack nuts. In the wild, tool use is rare, but increases with human observation or necessity. Captive gorillas innovate when given puzzles, a form of creative intelligence. Gorillas engage in planning, gathering food before building nests. They demonstrate deferred imitation, copying a behavior seen hours earlier. They remember human faces and voices for years. Gorillas recognize themselves in mirrors, photos, and digital screens. When shown video recordings, They sometimes respond to their own image. In problem-solving tests, gorillas often outperform orangutans in social reasoning. They can count up to small numbers and make simple quantitative comparisons. Some gorillas show preference for symmetry and aesthetics, similar to humans. They are capable of emotional deception, pretending indifference to test observers. Gorillas learn through observation, especially from mothers and dominant males. Youngsters often copy tool use and feeding techniques. Social learning ensures cultural transmission within groups. Cultural differences exist between populations, e.g., different nest styles or gestures. Gorilla cognition supports theories of shared ancestral intelligence with humans. Gorillas can anticipate other individuals' actions, the foundation of empathy. When offered mirrors, they sometimes inspect teeth or remove dirt, showing self-awareness. Some gorillas have learned to follow spoken commands with training. They can differentiate colors, shapes, and even artistic patterns. Gorillas display curiosity toward technology, cameras, drones, and mirrors. They remember the location of hidden food for long periods. Gorillas understand ownership. They'll defend their food but respect hierarchy. Their laughter-like responses during play reveal social intelligence and humor. Some have even imitated human facial expressions deliberately. Gorilla intelligence challenges our definitions of consciousness and personhood. Many scientists argue gorillas deserve non-human person status, legal recognition of awareness. Gorilla society is structured around the leadership of the silverback. Leadership isn't based only on strength, but also experience and fairness. A respected silverback keeps order through calm authority rather than violence. Silverbacks guide the group's travel, feeding, and conflict resolution. They rarely need to fight. A look or grunt is usually enough to maintain order. Submissive gorillas lower their heads or avoid eye contact. Dominant males tolerate juvenile play and female chatter, but intervene if needed. Silverbacks demonstrate tactical intelligence in protecting their group. They sometimes bluff charge predators to draw attention away from females and infants. Their deep rumbles and posture communicate control and reassurance. Females choose to stay with the most emotionally stable males. Male status is maintained through grooming and care, not constant aggression. Hierarchies exist even among females, often linked to age and loyalty. Conflicts are brief and usually resolved through gestures, not violence. Researchers note gorilla societies as models of low-conflict cooperation. In captivity, stable hierarchies reduce stress and improve health. Silverbacks are often gentle and patient fathers, letting infants climb over them. Some have been observed playing peekaboo with their young. Famous silverbacks like Cansby in Rwanda ruled for over 20 years. Cansby fathered more than 20 offspring and was known for his calm dominance. Another well-known male, Titus, survived poaching raids and became a legendary patriarch. Titus was featured in National Geographic as one of the world's most resilient wild gorillas. Coco remains the most linguistically famous gorilla, revolutionizing our understanding of animal minds. Michael, Coco's companion, was the first gorilla to describe a traumatic memory through sign language. His story supported the existence of emotional trauma and memory in apes. Another gorilla, Njum, was Coco's later companion and part of behavioral studies. Gorillas like Shinda and Gus have shown complex personality traits, from humor to stubbornness. Each famous gorilla contributes uniquely to human empathy and ethics toward animals. Studies of these individuals have reshaped laws, zoo policies, and conservation priorities. The lessons from gorilla hierarchy show that true leadership is rooted in care, not control. Gorillas share 98.3% of their DNA with humans, slightly less than chimpanzees but still remarkably close. The gorilla genome was fully mapped in 2012, revealing unexpected similarities in brain and immune system genes. Gorillas have fewer olfactory, receptor genes than monkeys, showing a shift toward vision-based behavior. Their chromosome count is 48, compared to humans' 46. The difference arose from a fusion of two ancestral chromosomes in the human lineage. Many gorilla genes are involved in muscle development and digestion of fibrous food. Gorillas evolved independently of chimpanzees and humans for about 8–10 million years. DNA analysis confirms that Western and Eastern gorillas diverged around 1.52 million years ago. Despite distance, they can interbreed in captivity, showing genetic compatibility. Some genes responsible for speech development in humans, like FOXP2, are also active in gorillas. However, gorilla FOXP2 expression differs slightly, explaining limited vocal control. Gorillas have unique immune adaptations against tropical pathogens. Their gut microbiome resembles that of early humans, rich in fiber-digesting bacteria. Genome. Studies suggest gorillas experience population bottlenecks due to past climate changes. Mountain gorillas have very low genetic diversity, increasing vulnerability to disease. However, their population remains stable due to strong natural selection. Some gorillas show natural resistance to Ebola-like viruses. Genetic research helps identify disease risks before outbreaks occur. The genome reveals clues about aging, reproduction, and metabolism. Gorillas are surprisingly slow-aging mammals, possibly linked to efficient cell repair genes. Their DNA contains junk segments similar to humans, remnants of ancient viruses. Gorillas have fewer genes related to social aggression than chimpanzees. This may explain their more peaceful temperament. Genetic studies show strong parallels between gorilla and human heart health. Both species suffer similar risks from arteriosclerosis and obesity in captivity. Research on gorilla DNA has advanced human medicine, including understanding muscle regeneration. Conservationists use DNA fingerprinting to track individual gorillas and prevent poaching. Fecal DNA samples help identify family trees and migration patterns. Modern labs can even reconstruct population history from decades-old hair samples. Genetic science has become one of the most powerful tools in gorilla conservation and health management. Gorillas are prone to many of the same diseases as humans. They can catch influenza, pneumonia, and common colds from humans. Even mild human viruses can be fatal to gorillas due to immune differences. Gorillas rarely get cavities thanks to their fiber-rich diet and low sugar intake. They do, however, suffer from tooth wear due to chewing tough vegetation. Wild gorillas rarely show obesity or diabetes, unlike captive individuals. Captive diets rich in fruits can cause blood sugar imbalances. Heart disease is a leading cause of death in zoo-housed silverbacks. Researchers monitor heart health using echocardiograms and training-based checkups. Gorillas can develop parasite infections, such as worms or protozoa, especially in humid regions. In the wild, they often self-medicate by eating bitter plants with medicinal properties. Some consume aspilia leaves, known to expel intestinal parasites. Mountain gorillas' dense fur protects them from cold, but can trap fleas and mites. Grooming keeps fur clean and reduces parasite loads. Gorillas can suffer injuries from falls or fights, but they heal remarkably fast. Their wounds often close without infection, possibly due to antimicrobial skin flora. Gorillas show pain sensitivity and react with protective behavior to injuries. They occasionally favor a limb or rest after trauma, indicating awareness of pain management. In zoos, anesthesia is risky due to their large lungs and slow metabolism. Veterinarians use custom doses for each individual. Female gorillas can experience menopause-like symptoms in old age. Some older females stop reproducing but remain active group members. Lifespan in the wild averages 35 to 40 years, while in captivity it can exceed 50 years. The oldest known gorilla, Fatu, celebrated her 67th birthday in Berlin Zoo in 2024. Fatu's longevity highlights advances in geriatric gorilla care. Aging gorillas may show grey fur, worn teeth, and reduced mobility. Older silverbacks often remain leaders due to wisdom rather than strength. Gorillas exhibit maternal menopause. Older females help raise others young. This grandmother effect improves infant survival, similar to humans. They rarely suffer from cancer, possibly due to genetic resistance mechanisms. Their slow metabolism reduces cellular mutation rates, Researchers study gorilla blood for insights into anti-aging genetics. Wild gorillas maintain ideal cholesterol and glucose levels due to constant activity. Captive ones undergo regular exercise programs to mimic wild movement. Gorillas' thick fur also protects them from UV exposure, preventing skin cancer. They do, however, develop calluses and skin folds from sitting or walking. Their heart rate can drop dramatically during rest, showing energy-efficient physiology. Stress can raise cortisol levels, impacting fertility and immunity. Conservation. Centers now monitor hormone levels via fecal samples to gauge welfare. The close medical parallels between gorillas and humans make them vital for comparative medicine research. Gorillas once faced extinction, but science-driven conservation has reversed trends in some regions. The mountain gorilla population grew from 300 in the 1980s to over 1,000 today. Conservation success came from ranger patrols, tourism control, and genetic monitoring. Researchers now use drone surveillance to track groups non-invasively. Thermal imaging cameras detect hidden gorillas even in dense fog. AI algorithms analyze camera trap footage to identify individuals automatically. Gorilla facial recognition systems can tell one individual from another with 95% accuracy. This helps scientists study population dynamics and social behavior over time. Conservationists employ GPS collars and satellite mapping to track migration safely. DNA-based forensic techniques identify poached individuals and trafficking routes. Gorilla tourism generates millions in local revenue, incentivizing protection. Rwanda, Uganda, and Congo have strict visitor limits to reduce disease risk. Tourists must wear masks and maintain distance, protecting gorillas from pathogens. Ecotourism funds ranger salaries, schools, and community development. Many former poachers are now wildlife guardians. Gorilla health programs include mobile veterinary units, known as gorilla doctors. These teams treat wild gorillas for snares, infections, and respiratory disease. Satellite imaging helps detect illegal logging and mining near habitats. Conservation zones are expanding to create forest corridors between isolated groups. Education programs teach local children the economic and ecological value of gorillas. 3D scanning and digital modeling preserve gorilla skeletal records for future study. Some sanctuaries use virtual reality experiences to raise awareness globally. Gorillas are now central to carbon credit conservation projects. Protecting forests offsets emissions. Partnerships between governments and NGOs fund long-term population monitoring. Gorilla fecal samples are stored in biobanks for genetic and disease research. Conservationists are exploring rewilding projects to connect fragmented populations. AI-assisted models can predict future habitat loss or disease spread. Gorilla protection now combines biology, technology, and community ethics. The species recovery proves that science and compassion together can save life on Earth. Gorillas stand as living proof that human effort can reverse extinction. In many African cultures, gorillas are seen not as beasts, but as forest guardians. The Bantu people traditionally believe gorillas embody ancestral spirits. In Congolese folklore, gorillas are called men of the forest, wise and strong. Some tribes forbid hunting them, viewing it as killing a family member. In contrast, early European explorers cast gorillas as savage monsters, inspiring myth. The 19th century explorer Paul du Chaillu's accounts helped form the wild man archetype. The name gorilla originates from the Greek word gorillai, meaning hairy people. This term first appeared in a 5th century BCE voyage account of the Carthaginian explorer Hanno. Ancient stories of giant hairy forest men may have been inspired by real gorilla encounters. In Western imagination, gorillas became symbols of primitive strength and mystery. Films like King Kong, 1933, and Mighty Joe Young, 1949, built on this image. These depictions shaped public perception, both fascination and fear. The 1988 movie, Gorillas in the Mist, helped change that, humanizing the species. It showcased Dian Fossey's dedication and the emotional lives of gorillas. Since then, gorillas have become icons of conservation rather than terror. In modern African art, gorillas symbolize family, patience, and resilience. Contemporary Rwandan painters often portray gorillas alongside humans in harmony. Gorillas appear in poetry as metaphors for gentle strength and misunderstood power. In Japanese culture, gorillas represent stoicism and loyalty, traits admired in samurai. In pop culture, they feature in everything from video games to comic books. Donkey Kong, Gorilla Grodd. Modern mascots and logos use gorillas to convey protection, loyalty, and power with kindness. Gorillas are frequent subjects of children's books, teaching compassion for wildlife. The film Rise of the Planet of the Apes portrays gorillas as noble warriors, not brutes. Gorillas have appeared in music, brand names, and social media memes, shaping global awareness. The 2016 Harambe meme became a viral movement blending humor with grief and activism. Though controversial, it reignited interest in animal ethics and zoo safety. Gorillas have appeared on national currencies and stamps across Africa. Rwanda's 1,000 franc note famously depicts a mountain gorilla. Gorillas are used symbolically in environmental campaigns as emblems of balance. Some African folktales describe gorillas as teachers of humility to arrogant hunters. In spirituality, they embody harmony between human and nature. Modern philosophers cite gorillas as ethical mirrors, forcing us to question what it means to be human. Artists like Walton Ford and Nick Brandt use gorillas to portray the tragedy of extinction. Many conservation murals in Kigali and Goma depict gorillas as cultural heroes. The gorilla is now a national symbol of Rwanda, featured in tourism branding. Rwanda even hosts an annual Kwita Izina ceremony, where newborn gorillas are publicly named. The event celebrates community unity and environmental protection. Gorilla symbolism has shifted over centuries from fear to reverence. They now stand for strength through peace, rather than dominance through violence. Their story mirrors humanity's own, from misunderstanding to enlightenment. The first captive gorilla, Jenny, lived in the London Zoo in 1849. Charles Darwin visited her and noted her emotional and human-like reactions. Early zoos kept gorillas in isolation, causing stress and early death. Many didn't survive more than a few months due to inadequate care and loneliness. Modern zoos now emphasize enrichment, space, and family grouping. Gorillas in captivity live longer, healthier lives than a century ago. They receive medical checkups, mental stimulation, and complex diets. Ethical standards require naturalistic enclosures with climbing and privacy zones. Social groups are formed carefully to mimic natural troop dynamics. Many gorillas in captivity are part of species survival plans, SSPs. These programs ensure genetic diversity and manage breeding internationally. Captive gorillas also serve as ambassadors for wild conservation. They help educate millions of zoo visitors about endangered species. However, critics argue zoos should transition to sanctuaries and virtual education. Some sanctuaries already provide semi-wild conditions, like Grace in the Congo. Gorillas rescued from poachers or circuses often require psychological rehabilitation. Many show signs of trauma and depression from early captivity. Caretakers use positive reinforcement and social exposure to rebuild trust. Some gorillas, like Ndum, Coco's companion, struggled emotionally after isolation. This raises ethical questions about human control over sentient beings. Behavioral research aims to give gorillas more autonomy in captive environments. For example, they can choose when to participate in training or medical exams. Gorilla artwork and play are used as mental therapy tools. The debate around captivity continues, between education and animal rights. Modern sanctuaries blur that line, offering both care and natural freedom. Gorilla sanctuaries often rehabilitate orphans rescued from poaching. Orphaned gorillas learn survival skills before being reintroduced to protected forests. Rehabilitation. Success stories show gorillas can adapt and form new families. Captivity when ethical and scientifically guided, can preserve species and inspire empathy. The ultimate goal remains to ensure gorillas thrive in the wild, not just survive in captivity. Humans and gorillas share a deep emotional connection rooted in biological kinship. Gorillas often recognize humans as non-threatening if approached respectfully. Researchers who spend years with gorillas are accepted as part of the troop. Gorillas sometimes approach tourists calmly, showing mutual curiosity. They seem to sense human intention, whether friendly or harmful. Many trackers and rangers describe eye contact with gorillas as life-changing. Dian Fossey called their gaze the mirror of innocence and depth. Studies show gorillas are more relaxed when humans avoid staring directly. Gorillas' tolerance for human presence varies by group and exposure history. Habituation, gradual human introduction, takes years and requires patience. Once habituated, gorillas allow close observation for research and tourism. This has been key to understanding their social and emotional worlds. However, habituation carries risks of disease transmission and stress. Rangers minimize contact to protect gorilla welfare. Some communities once feared gorillas, but now see them as economic and spiritual allies. Conservation education has turned former poachers into eco-guides and protectors. Gorilla conservation is now woven into African identity and global ethics. Many African leaders advocate gorilla protection as a source of national pride. The gorilla's image appears in African tourism, environmental education, and art festivals. Internationally, gorillas symbolize compassion, family, and non-violence. Social media campaigns like Sancha's Team Gorilla and Save the Silverback have raised global awareness. Documentaries such as Virunga highlight the bravery of rangers protecting gorillas. Virunga's Oscar-nominated story brought millions in donations for protection efforts. Celebrities like Ellen DeGeneres and Leonardo DiCaprio have funded gorilla conservation centers. The Ellen Fund's Gorilla Campus in Rwanda supports female rangers and scientists. Modern conservation blends science, storytelling, and community empowerment. Gorillas serve as ambassadors for empathy, reminding humans of shared origins. Their survival depends not just on protection, but on respect for nature's intelligence. The human-gorilla bond shows that empathy, once extended, can heal both species and planet. Ultimately, protecting gorillas teaches us how to protect ourselves with wisdom, restraint, and care. Climate change poses one of the greatest long-term threats to gorillas. Rising temperatures alter rainfall patterns in African forests, affecting plant growth. Gorillas depend on seasonal fruiting cycles, which are shifting unpredictably. Extended dry seasons reduce the availability of fresh shoots and herbs. In mountainous areas, warmer conditions are pushing vegetation zones uphill. This forces gorillas to move higher, shrinking their viable habitat. Mountain gorillas already live near the upper forest line. They have nowhere higher to go. Western lowland gorillas face flooding in swamp forests due to heavier rains. Stronger storms damage fruit trees, disrupting feeding networks. Deforestation intensifies these effects, fragmenting the last connected forests. Climate stress also increases human-wildlife conflict over farmland and water. Gorillas may venture closer to villages, risking disease or retaliation. Conservationists are creating climate corridors to link safe forest zones. These allow species migration as habitats shift north or upward. Gorillas' thick fur makes them prone to heat stress in warmer lowlands. In response, they rest more and feed in shadier, wetter valleys. Some groups are altering nesting behavior, preferring higher, breezier sites. Fruit trees now flower earlier each year, forcing gorillas to adjust foraging patterns. Their flexible diet helps them cope. They can survive on leaves and pith when fruit declines. However, this adaptation comes at a cost of lower calorie intake. Climate models predict a 10 to 20% habitat reduction by 2050 if warming continues. Mountain gorillas' habitats could shrink by up to 50% under worst-case scenarios. Conservation programs now integrate climate resilience into management plans. Reforestation projects plant native tree species favored by gorillas. Communities receive incentives to grow fruit trees that benefit both humans and wildlife. Gorillas' role as seed dispersers helps restore deforested regions naturally. Scientists track rainfall, temperature, and fruiting cycles to model gorilla adaptation. Their data helps predict how future generations may need to shift home ranges. Gorillas serve as climate indicators. Changes in their health reflect forest conditions. Carbon-rich forests with gorillas store billions of tons of CO2, acting as global climate buffers. Protecting gorillas thus protects the planet's climate stability. The Congo Basin, home to gorillas, is often called Earth's second lung. International efforts aim to designate it a UNESCO Climate Heritage Site. Conservationists emphasize nature-based solutions, protecting wildlife to fight warming. Gorillas indirectly combat climate change by maintaining healthy forests. Communities working with gorilla tourism receive climate-adaptive income alternatives. Solar-powered ranger stations reduce deforestation linked to fuelwood use. Sustainable ecotourism now includes carbon offset projects tied to gorilla protection. Gorillas represent a powerful symbol of climate resilience through coexistence. Their survival story parallels humanity's adapt, cooperate, and preserve balance. Studying gorillas in the wild is among the most challenging jobs in science. Researchers trek through dense, steep, and muddy forests, often in harsh weather. They may walk 10 to 15 kilometers daily, carrying heavy gear. Field teams typically include local trackers, veterinarians, and ecologists. Trackers are often former hunters who now protect gorillas full-time. Rangers undergo intensive training in navigation, first aid, and conflict avoidance. Many patrols are carried out unarmed, relying on local diplomacy for safety. Rangers risk encounters with poachers, militias, and wild animals. Dozens have lost their lives protecting gorillas in the Virunga region alone. Despite danger, morale remains high. Rangers call their work a duty of love. Rangers identify gorillas by nose prints and facial features, much like fingerprints. They record feeding sites, nest locations, and social behavior daily. Gorilla. Trackers learn to interpret subtle vocalizations to locate families. Each gorilla group has its own nickname and identity, used by researchers. Field camps are basic, often tents, kerosene stoves, and handwritten logs. Data is later digitized for long-term behavioral databases. Rangers and scientists maintain non-contact protocols to prevent disease spread. Regular health monitoring includes fecal sampling and photographic records. When gorillas fall ill or are injured by snares, veterinary teams intervene quickly. Conservation NGOs like the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund and Virunga Foundation coordinate these efforts. Rangers also help educate nearby communities about forest protection and coexistence. They earn community respect as heroes safeguarding national treasures. Ranger wages are often supported by ecotourism and international donations. The Gorilla Doctors program has saved hundreds of individuals since 2005. Rangers maintain emotional bonds with specific gorilla families, greeting them daily. Some silverbacks recognize and tolerate familiar rangers peacefully. Field scientists describe the experience as working with ancient relatives. Observing. Gorillas requires patience, humility, and empathy, not control. Research findings are shared globally, influencing animal welfare, psychology, and conservation science. The bravery of rangers ensures that the world's last gorillas are never truly alone. Modern research continues to reveal new aspects of gorilla life. Scientists recently discovered that gorillas use specific travel calls before group movement. These vocal votes act like a democratic decision-making system. Groups move only when most members agree vocally, a sign of collective intelligence. Gorillas have been seen comforting unrelated individuals, suggesting advanced empathy. Some groups exhibit hand-holding behavior during rest or social bonding. They use tools more often than previously thought, especially near wetlands. Tool use seems learned socially, not instinctual. Researchers have documented gorilla rituals, repeated actions like leaf display or rhythmic stomping. These may serve social or emotional regulation purposes. Gorillas exhibit play diplomacy, mock fighting to test relationships peacefully. New studies suggest they possess individual voices recognizable by peers. Gorilla vocalizations may even carry emotional subtext, similar to tone in human speech. Scientists are experimenting with AI translation of gorilla calls to interpret meaning. Gorilla gestures share over 90% overlap with chimpanzee gesture repertoires. This supports the idea of a common ape language ancestor. Mountain gorillas have been observed teaching young, a sign of active pedagogy. Silverbacks sometimes model behaviors for juveniles, not just lead them. Some gorillas engage in plant pounding, using tools to extract hidden nutrients. Western lowland gorillas have complex fruit harvesting strategies, revisiting trees seasonally. Genetic sampling reveals previously unknown family connections between distant groups. Gorillas occasionally adopt orphans from neighboring troops, a rare behavior in primates. Cross-group cooperation shows social intelligence beyond family bonds. Gorillas have been seen imitating bird calls and environmental noises playfully. Some appear to enjoy watching waterfalls or rain, suggesting aesthetic awareness. Their emotional expressions vary by personality. Some laugh, others remain stoic. Gorilla social tolerance may surpass that of other great apes, making them peaceful innovators. The newest discovery, 2024, shows gorillas may have regional cultural traditions, such as nest style or display dances. These traditions are passed across generations, proving non-human culture exists. Every new finding reveals gorillas not as primitive ancestors, but as complex sentient societies in their own right. Gorilla conservation is entering a new era of coexistence, combining ecology, technology, and community. Protected areas like Volcanoes National Park and Windy Impenetrable Forest have become models of sustainable success. Gorilla tourism now funds schools, roads, and hospitals for local communities. Each tourist's visit contributes directly to ranger salaries and conservation programs. Rwanda allocates 10% of all park revenue to nearby villages. This model builds trust. Locals protect gorillas because gorillas protect livelihoods. In Uganda, gorilla tourism employs over 1,000 locals as guides, trackers, and porters. Women are increasingly joining ranger forces and research teams. Female rangers, once rare, are now leaders in field patrols. Education programs teach children that gorillas are national treasures, not threats. Conservation NGOs provide scholarships for children of rangers and ex-poachers. New projects focus on agroforestry, reducing dependence on forest clearing. Farmers plant gorilla-friendly crops like bamboo, which deters conflict. Drones help monitor illegal logging and mining without disturbing wildlife. Forest restoration projects replant native tree species crucial to gorilla diets. Gorilla conservation is part of the United Nations Great Ape Survival Partnership. Regional cooperation ensures protection across national borders. Anti-poaching units receive advanced training in law enforcement and wildlife tracking. Community radio programs broadcast conservation news in local languages. Local art, theatre, and festivals celebrate gorillas as symbols of peace and resilience. Gorillas have become flagship ambassadors for Africa's biodiversity. Their presence supports ecotourism that helps preserve entire ecosystems. Carbon credit systems now reward nations that protect gorilla habitats. Scientists and indigenous leaders increasingly collaborate as equals. Ethical photography guidelines promote non-intrusive documentation of wildlife. Online citizen science. Platforms allow users to identify gorillas in camera trap images. The next generation of conservationists are using VR, AI, and storytelling to inspire empathy. Gorilla populations are monitored globally via real-time satellite data. Funding is shifting toward long-term forest connectivity rather than crisis response. The future of gorillas depends not only on saving them, but on restoring balance with humans. The world is recognizing that protecting gorillas means protecting water, forests, and climate. Conservation models now prioritize One Health, linking wildlife, human, and environmental health. Gorilla tourism is becoming carbon neutral, offsetting emissions through reforestation. Partnerships between tech companies and wildlife parks fund AI-driven monitoring. The success of gorilla recovery has inspired similar programs for elephants and pangolins. Youth-led initiatives like Gorilla Guardians are emerging in African schools. Gorillas symbolize hope, proof that species once on the brink can recover with unity. Global awareness is at an all-time high. Gorillas now appear in climate and ethical debates. Conservationists agree. The gorilla story is a template for planetary healing. Their survival is both a victory and a responsibility for humankind. Gorillas remind us that intelligence does not require domination. Their societies thrive on cooperation, empathy, and restraint, not aggression. Silverbacks lead through calm authority, a model for compassionate leadership. Gorillas teach that true strength lies in peace, not violence. Their gentle nature challenges humanity's view of survival of the fittest. Instead, gorillas embody survival of the kindest. Their emotional depth proves that love and family bonds are not uniquely human. Gorillas' tolerance and patience mirror our best moral ideals. Observing them helps psychologists understand the roots of empathy and fairness. Gorillas show nonverbal communication mastery, an art humans often lose. Their deliberate silence teaches the power of presence and calm. In a chaotic world, gorillas represent stillness, balance, and grounded wisdom. Gorillas demonstrate that intelligence can coexist with humility and harmony. Their gaze often evokes a feeling of recognition, as if seeing an ancient reflection. Many researchers describe gorillas as philosophers of the forest. They exhibit self-control and forgiveness, even after conflict. Gorillas prove that morality can exist without religion or law, only empathy. They are a living argument against human exceptionalism. Protecting gorillas is an act of moral evolution, not just biological conservation. Their survival challenges humans to expand the circle of compassion beyond our species. Gorillas highlight how empathy is a shared inheritance, not a human invention. Their social systems illustrate the balance of freedom and cooperation. Gorilla mothers model patience, tenderness, and resilience. Their family structure reflects the universal language of care. Watching them reminds us that peaceful coexistence is a choice, not a weakness. The gorilla's journey, from feared beast to beloved kin, mirrors humanity's own. Awakening. Philosophers and ethicists increasingly cite gorillas as evidence of natural morality. Gorillas blur the boundaries between animal and personhood. Many scientists now argue for legal great ape rights, protecting autonomy and welfare. Countries like Spain and New Zealand have already recognized such rights. Gorillas force us to ask, what does it mean to be human if they feel, love, and grieve too? Their societies demonstrate that peace can evolve without hierarchy or greed. Gorillas' existence is a lesson in balance between self, family, and world. In them, we rediscover the wisdom of living simply and gently. Their forests echo the truth that all life is interdependent. Gorillas don't seek conquest, they seek connection. They are the quiet teachers of compassion, reminding us to listen. Humanity's future may depend on learning the gorilla's way, strength through harmony. To save them is to save the gentle part of ourselves. When the last gorilla is safe, it will mean the world has finally learned empathy. The story of gorillas is not one of tragedy, but of rebirth through care. Once near extinction, their numbers are slowly rising through unity and science. Each surviving troop represents a triumph of compassion over cruelty. Gorillas have transformed from victims of fear to symbols of global cooperation. Their conservation unites governments, tribes, scientists, and citizens worldwide. Thousands of people now work daily across Africa to ensure gorillas' future. Every newborn gorilla represents decades of effort, courage, and hope. Ranger memorials across Virunga honor those who died protecting these gentle giants. The world is now realizing that gorillas' survival is tied to our own ecological survival. Forests they protect purify air, stabilize rain, and feed millions downstream. Gorilla tourism teaches travelers to respect rather than consume nature. Digital Outreach connects classrooms globally with live gorilla cams. Children around the world now grow up admiring gorillas as kin, not curiosities. The gorilla's success proves that even in crisis, change is possible through compassion. Scientists predict that with continued protection, gorilla numbers will double by 2050. The legacy of Dian Fossey, Coco, and countless rangers lives on in every forest echo. The next frontier is ethical coexistence, learning to thrive alongside wild. Intelligence gorillas stand as living testaments that peace is an evolutionary advantage. Their story is not just natural history, it's a reflection of human potential, and perhaps, in the quiet eyes of a silverback, we glimpse the future we must create, wise, kind, and in balance with the world. And that was 1,000 fascinating facts about one of nature's most amazing creatures. Whether you listened all the way through or drifted off somewhere along the way, I hope this video brought you a sense of calm, comfort, and wonder. If you enjoyed this journey and want to explore more relaxing videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel, leave a gentle like, and let me know in the comments which animal you'd like to dream about next. Thank you for spending this quiet moment here. Rest easy, sleep well, and I'll see you in the next video.